Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Saurabh Singh. I'm Senior System Engineer for SAC North Region. And I say thank you all for joining this session. So the topic today is 10 features in Veeam Backup and Replication you didn't knew existed. So in this presentation, I would be talking about few features which are there, which customer and a few people don't know about, and they are less in use, but yet they are useful. So in the agenda I have four things to talk about. So on the features, so on the features, so first on the quality of your backups. So there are there are different ways to take backup and to utilize them as well, which comes under the first part, quality of a backup. Second is on the storage efficiencies. When while we are doing backups, how Veeam can help you, to have your, to achieve your maximum efficiency on storage side. Third, on cloud integrations. That of course, we do have a very strong integration with cloud, all hypers like AWS, Azure, GCP. So, what else, what other things, what new things we can do with cloud as well. The last part is on the bonus side. In bonus, I have two, three things, which I'm going to share it with you. So to start with, on the first thing, I'll start with the quality of a backup. So in this presentation, what I have done differently is, of course, I have slides which I'm going to explain you, which I'm going to tell you that this is the new feature and those things. So I have small demos as well for you. So if I have if I'm telling you some functionality, so I would be definitely showing you small demos. I have videos wherein I would be telling you, explaining you how you can implement those things as well. So to start with, so there are, many features, great features, which you may be knowing about, like instant recovery, NAS backup, Veeam Explorer, SOBR replication. So these are some big features which Veeam is known for. So Veeam was the first one to develop instant VM recoveries for VMware environment. Then we started, when we increased this portfolio of instant recovery to Hyper-V. Then we have launched physical to virtual instant VM recovery. Then AHV instant recovery. Now we have instant recovery for databases like MS SQL and Oracle as well, and plus instant recovery of your NAS backups also. So these are the the time Veeam is in the market. So it has developed a lot many things in instant recovery portfolio. Second thing is NAS backups. Of course, NAS backup was launched, 2.5 years ago, and now I think we are, the vendor, which provide powerful backup of NAS, which can integrate with all your SMB, NFS, your enterprise storage classes, and can deliver a powerful backup tool for your unstructured data. Next is Veeam Explorers. Veeam Explorers are very famous for when you are doing any recoveries of your applications, Microsoft applications like AD, Exchange, SharePoint, MS SQL. Wherein you don't need to do anything else. Just simple explorers you can open, and you can recover item level recovery. You can do it from your applications for Oracle. And now Veeam is developing new features. Of course, down the line we will have explorers for many other things as well. So explorers are very, I think it is quite easy. When you have to do a single mail recovery from Exchange, or if you have to do a single database recovery, or single database or table recovery from MS SQL, or if you want to recover any item from Active Directory applications. So yeah, these are very famous and useful for it. SOBR, scale out backup repository, again it's a great functionality which Veeam brings in onto the table. So in scale out backup repository, so initially if you will see, if you are using Veeam from a long time, so scale out backup repository was like mixing up two or more repositories and to create one single larger pool. So that you can put all your terabytes of data in one single pool only. But now, in scale out backup repository, what Veeam has done is it has expanded, scale out to cloud repositories as well. So if you are using any cloud repositories like Amazon S3, Azure Blob, or GCP objects, or any S3 protocol supported object, so you can have a copy created there as well. So yeah, SOBR again, it is also a feature, which Veeam brings on the table. Then replication. So Veeam, as the name suggests, backup and replication. It is not just a backup. So Veeam does, it's a two-in-one software. It does backups and it does replication also. So if you want to create a disaster recovery for a VMware environments, Hyper-V environments, definitely replication, brings an additional functionality to cater your disaster recovery thing in your environment. So there are, many underutilized features, as I'm going to talk about, in the coming slides. So for the first one, I would say I'll start with quality of backups. The first one is the instant backup with Veeam Zip. I don't know how many of you know about Veeam Zip, but yeah, it's a functionality, wherein I would say it's an on-demand functionality, wherein what you can do if you quickly, want to create or have a backup for your one of the VM, wherein, you can create full backup files and that can be stored as an independent restore points. So these backups, can be, I mean, this kind of backup you can apply in your environment and can be useful in your environment. Now, suppose, this is a kind of a virtual machine wherein, you don't need, regular backups of those things. Those are test and development machine, and you just need to, back it up once. Not many changes are going to come in. Of course, you can have a quick backup of that thing. So wherein, you can have incremental backups as well onto those. So yeah, I mean, for this Veeam Zip, you can just scroll down to your inventory. In inventory, you can go to your ESXize. You will have your full list of VMs. Just right click and create a Veeam Zip. And it will, as I said, it will store that as an independent restore point. So the use cases, of course, quickly, you don't have much changes in that VM. You want just, keep one copy, just do this thing. How we can do this, let me just go into the next slide and I'll explain you. So this is a demo, so it's a small demo I have. So you can go to this inventory pane, and inventory you can just search for a VM. For example, I have searched tiny Linux VM and right click. I can do this quick backup here, or Veeam Zip. So Veeam Zip is there. So in Veeam Zip, it'll ask, okay, in which repository I want to store the data. I can select the repository, and then I can do more. I can encrypt. I can enable the encryption as well. So of course you need to enable a password. We need to add a password for doing encryption, and that's it. Okay. So quickly your backup will be done, and it will be stored as an independent VBK. It will be stored as independent full backup file. It will take some time to do backup, and in that backup, definitely uh, your data will be stored. It's a simple task. It's a simple thing. Of course, for other thing, we basically we create backup jobs. We do scheduling, each and everything that has to be done. But in here, it's a simple right click and create a backup job. It's been successed. So moving on to the next thing. So we have this, to configure backups using tags. So so basically, if you have configured tags on vSphere side, so that can be used for automating backup and backup job policies. So when you add, or when we add virtual machines, so Veeam provides different, I would say, different ways to add a virtual machine. So you can add as a you can add as a normal single VMs. You can add through data stores. You can add through objects, different objects, or you can add through tags as well. So if these tags are implemented on vSphere side, so we can see, okay, these are the tags which we have created. For example, these are tags like, bronze backup, replication, gold backup, replication. We have set up different policies, or you have added different, um, tags for these VMs. So you can just select those tags. So all VMs under these tags will have a single backup policy. and so that you can manage and track them with these things as well. So I mean, you don't need to add single VMs. You can add these VMs as a organization, or I would say department type, or you can add these VMs as a database types or non-production production VM types. So you can create tags, different tags, and you can add it. It's a simple thing. I mean, the way we create backup jobs. So in this, if you will see the screenshot. So when we create a job, it comes name and then it comes virtual machine to select. So in virtual machine, I have this tag. So once tag, I can select a tag. Okay, these are the machines I need to add in my backup job. That's it, simple. So how we can do this? So let's see in here. I'll go to this home page, backup job, virtual machine. I'll select vSphere. I'll just write a name. Okay, what should the name of these things? So virtual machine, I can host and clusters. I have VMs and templates. I can add through data stores and VM, and here I can add through VMs and tags. If I'll click on this, so I'll see, okay, these are my tags I have created in my VMware, and these applications like domain controllers, MS SQL. I can add this tiny Linux, so I have some few virtual machines added here. And if I want to exclude anything, if I want to exclude any VM, because in this tag I would be having multiple VMs. If I need to exclude a single VM from this, I can exclude it. Then next, then this simple thing, what we do, it's the same thing. I mean, next thing, and then if you want to set up anything else, you can do it. So these tags are, of course, it's easy to it's easy to track on your VMs. It's easy to have set policies on some prototype of VM, and then you can just run it. Simple thing. So on the quality of backups, so definitely this is a good point to have to apply your backup jobs through tags. So the next thing, coming on to the next thing, is the extract utility. So I mean, trust me, when I was creating this, or when I was reading this presentation, so extract utility is something which I also didn't know, and I got to know. So this extract utility is basically it's kind of a tool. It is not basically present in your Veeam backup and replication, but when you download this Veeam backup and replication, there's a setup. In that setup file, you have this extract utility setup, where you can just install that extract utility. What it does is basically, if let's say if you want to recover any file from the backups, backups, and you don't have a VBR at your place, or suppose for somehow your VBR got crashed, and you need to recover your Veeam image-based backups, and you do not, for that, you don't have VBR presently. So what you can do, you can just have extract utility deployed any of this server, any of the Windows server. When add a repository, or extract utility will ask, okay, where is the repository? You give a path to a repository. Which VM you want to recover, just give that, okay, this is the chain I have and I want to recover this VM. So extract utility can provide you, or can give you recovery of that VM as well. So how we do it, let me show you in the demo. So this example, let me just give you tell you one more thing. So the use case of this extract utility could be, let's say as I said, that your management server, your backup server is crashed somehow, and there's an urgent need to recover those backup files, and to provide it to your original place. So in that case, this extract utility can be useful. So I mean, how it does, so in this, let me just go back. So you have this setup in local disk C. You have this program files and Veeam backup and replication. I mean, you can just scroll down. or you can search with extract utility. You will have this setup extract utility setup here, application. This application I've already installed here. So what I'll do, I'll just double click on this application, which is being installed. I will open this. So it will come like this. So it will ask for the backup file. I'll browse. So I'll find this. Okay, I want to have this complete full backup file to be recovered. And this is the VM. And on which target folder I want this VMDK to be present. So when I click on this extract, it will start restoring this VMDK to this target folder. Easy to use, nothing. It's just three simple steps. Backup files. Where are backup files? I can just do click on browse, and then I can select target folder, on which folder, and this is the machine name. It will show here. This is the machine name, and this is the size. And so it will extract as a VMDK and VHD as it written here. So when process complete, you will have VMX, VMXF, and VRAM and VMDK files available with you. So easy and simple. Moving on to the next part on the Veeam Data Labs. So Data Labs, I'm sure you must be aware of Data Labs. So what it does. I mean, in Data Labs we have many things. So now Sure Backup, sandboxing, secure restore from the backup. So many things come under Data Labs. So I mean, there are many things which I would be talking about here in this forum. So in Data Labs, what are Data Labs basically? So these are Veeam is doing image level backups of virtual machines of VMware Hyper-V environment. And with Veeam Data Labs, what you can do is, the backup you have present in the repository, you can pick those backup files, you can run those backup files in an isolated environment. So Veeam creates something called virtual labs, data labs, which has been written here. Veeam creates, these virtual labs. That virtual lab will have its own IP, own virtual IP, own virtual NIC card. Everything will be isolated from your production environment, wherein you can run a VM. You can run a VM powered on from the backup and run in that isolated environment. Wherein what you can do your security testing. You can do some administrative tasks. You can do some DevOps. You can do analytics on your applications which are present in there. If you want to do some patching, you can do some patching on the applications as well. So like it said that sandbox environment to test your new patches and updates. Once it is done, you can just shut down that VM, and whatever changes you have made, those all changes will be discarded. And so this is one type of use case which you can achieve from a Data Labs. Basically, what I'm trying to say is you have the backups, present in your environment and waiting for the restore. What if Veeam allows you to do something on it? So these are the extra use case wherein you can test your applications from powering on your applications from the backups only, rather creating it clones each and every time, which consume a lot of space, permanent space, and and your resources from your production in environment. What if you can just power on from the backups and run in your isolated environment and do all the things which you want to do? And one another use case of this Data Labs is, even I think many of you are aware, is that Sure Backup. So what Sure Backup does is basically it ensures the backup you have taken are recoverable, which means in Sure Backup, so the name itself defines Sure Backups, which means again we are doing image level backups, storing in the repository. And what if I need to check, or what if my compliance says that in every for my production, my business critical application, I need to check weekly. I need to do testing of these applications weekly, that my backups, whatever backups I'm doing, will that be restorable or not. So data labs ensures that it's a job only. After every backup, you can set it up that my VM should come up, run in an isolated environment, check on the OS part whether my OS is coming up or not successfully, check on the file system, check on the OS, and then if you are running any application inside it, for example, you're running DNS application inside it, it will ping on port 389. If the response is coming, which means your application is up and running. It will do several tasks like heartbeat test, ping test, and many other tests to ensure your VM is coming up and right on time with each and everything. So this is another use case of this. I would say data labs. Next is when we are basically doing a restore also. So in restores, we have an option for secure restore. Again, secure restore, I told you earlier as well. So in secure restore, it integrates with your antivirus and checks before restoring it, before coming in the production. Or this testing you can do in your Sure Backup lab as well. So secure restore functionality is available everywhere. Before coming in production or before running in Sure Backup, it checks, it integrates with the antivirus, and it checks whether that VM is secure, is okay to restore in production or not. It's an optional feature. You can check this before every restoration, or you can uncheck also. So secure restore, as you can see here in this in the screen here. So I have just check marked here, and let you scan the restore machine for malware prior to performing recovery. If malware found, proceed with recovery, but disable the network adapters, or abort VM recovery, or scan the entire image. Continue scanning remaining files after the first malware has been found. So of course, you can select these options, and can be 100% secure from any malware detection or any virus detection. So this is some of the best use case. I would say you can utilize your backups. I mean, the name itself says the quality of your backups. So you can utilize this option to ensure whether whatever backups you are taking are 100% secure and safe and will be restorable. How we do it? Let's go on to demo. I have this VM present here. I'll do next. Click on restore entire VM. In here, I will select the VM. I can have multiple VMs here. I'll do next. Then restore to original location. In the next tab, I have this secure restore option. And the secure restore option, there's an option which I showed you in the last slide. Scan the restored machine for malware prior to performing recovery. And if malware was found, then these are the options. You can proceed, but network will be disabled, and scan the entire image after the first malware found. Do next. So it will verify the VM, and then it will start. Finish. So it will start the recovery. So now it is performing antivirus scan on this virtual machine. So no threats detected. That's it. Exit code 0. If it would have detected something, it would have come up in here only. The malware has been found, and aborting the VM recovery or whatever option you have selected earlier. So I hope you have found this option good enough to implement in your environment. Moving on to next, onto the storage efficiencies. So in storage efficiencies, first is on the storage IO control. What is storage IO control? Basically, it monitors the latency on the data store level. When we are doing an image level backups, so I am recovering multiple VMs, or I'm taking backup of multiple VMs at the same time. So whenever I'm doing a snapshot, there's one delta file, the VM goes in in a free state, and there's one delta file created on the data store. So whenever, when we do an agentless backup, whenever we do a snapshot level backups, of course there's some latency which creates not data store. So, and the data store latency, we consider that, I think some less than 10 ms is affordable. If it goes above 10 ms or 15 ms, then it's an issue. So what we can do, if your multiple VMs are been residing in one data store and we are doing continuous backup of those things, here we can limit that. In this options of IO control, I can go and I can enable this storage latency control option, wherein I can stop assigning new tasks to data store at 20 ms and throttle IO at existing tasks at 30 ms. So if my data store latency is going above 20 ms, then no new task will be assigned. And if any existing task is running, so it will throttle the IO of the existing task at 30 ms. The line will come straight. So as soon as that data latency will go, below 30 ms, then it will, start performing the backups. So I think it's a good functionality, wherein we are doing when you have a lot of VMs in one single data store and you don't want any latency on the production side. So good option to implement. And this happens at the global level. So these options are available at the global level. So it will monitor all the data stores in your environment. How we do it? Let's see. So you just click on this option, these three lines, and go to this general option. In general option, you will find IO control. In IO control, you can just check here and enable. So this is the thing, stop assigning new tasks. The data store at 20 ms I have defined. I can change it also. I can change it to 10. I can reduce it to 10, or I can increase it to 40 also. The same thing I can do it with the existing task as well. I can reduce and decrease anything. And if I want to do any specific data store latency on any specific data store, I can add through here as well. For example, I've selected this data store. I'll do OK, and I can specifically have this settings change on this particular data store. Can do OK, and here OK. Now it has been set for the custom for an individual data store. Apply OK, that's it. The policy has been applied here successfully. So again, on the use case side, of course, very beneficial, when you don't want to afford any latency on a production side. And this can help you, to achieve this thing. Of course, your backup window will increase, but you will not have any impact on the production side. Moving on next. So this option is basically, use backup as source. So, as I said that, so Veeam, you can do backups, you can do backup copy, and you can do replication from one side to another side. So suppose in a case, you are doing a backup copy. So backup copy, let me just explain you what backup copy is. So backup copy is basically, I have done a backup at DC site. I have another site, and then there I want to replicate one of the copy to my DR storage as well. So, and I have that, and I have, everything set up at DR site also. So with this, using backup copy, I can replicate all my backup files, which is in VBK VIB format, and replicate it to my DR site. So what I can do if I'm running a replication job. So one is the backup, normal backup, snapshot backup. I have taken a snapshot. I have stored local at DC. Second thing is backup copy. I have replicated those backup files from the backup only. I have not touched or I have not gone to the production. From the backups only, I have replicated to the disaster to my secondary site. And if I apply and if I start a replication job, what I can do is rather replicating all my blocks, all my VMDK file from one ESXi to another ESXi. I can select that, already my backups are there at the DR side. What I can do is I can just, when I set up a policy in Veeam Backup and Replication Console, I can set up something like, from the backups, first create a VMDK and then only my incrementals will replicate from DC to DR. So in this way, you don't need to, really replicate your complete VMs from source to destination. Only the incrementals will go. The other thing, what I can do, of course, I was doing a backup, then I was doing a backup copy. Suddenly I thought I should do a replication also, to have a, disaster recovery, complete disaster recovery, set up in my environment. So you don't need to, have a full copy created there. You have backup files there. Just, those from those backup files will create a VMDK and then just replicate the incrementals. So this is one thing which I'm doing over the WAN. I have another option. I don't think it is available here, but just to tell you what we can do on the second thing is uh, I can do a seeding option also. When I'm doing a replication, I can do a seeding. So seeding means I have taken a local backup, which of course would be faster. Would be faster. Of course, it's a local network there, and I can put in some DAS kind of box. I can hardship that box to my DR site, connect to my environment there, and I can add that same repository to my backups also, to my
Saurabh,
production. Yes.
Saurabh, sorry to
Hello.
interrupt, but are you changing the slides? Because I think there is some problem with the screen. The slides are not changing, and we are getting messages.
Okay. Okay. No. So I have
Yeah.
not changed the slide yet. Sorry.
Okay, sure.
So there's a extra thing which I'm sharing it. So data seeding. So one was the backup as a source for replication, and second was on the seeding side. So seeding is basically I have created a local backup, and that hardware I have shipped to the DR side. So I have the backups there. I have I know that my backups are there. I can connect that same repository to my production VBR, and I can ask that from the backups create the VMDK at my DR site. So one is through the backup copy and second through the seeding. I mean, it's the same thing only. It just, I'm not sending a backup copy over the WAN. How we can do it? Let's see on this demo session. So in this backup, I have this replication, virtual machine, vSphere replication. I can put a name, anything, and then I'll select a VM. I'll add a VM through tags. Would be best idea to add through tags. Again, the tiny Linux VM, and I can add as a source. So let me just go back again. Here I'll that what should be the source. In source, I have from production storage actual VM state, which is your which is your ESXi VM, and second option is from the backup files, latest VM state available in the backups. And you should be knowing that of course if these tiny links I'm taking backup, so in which repository it should going and in which repository it is present. So the next. So all these settings are basic settings. Destination, job setting, data transfer. You want to select through. I mean you want to implement through direct or WAN transfer, then schedule, and that's it. Simple. So this is how you can do your replications from the source backup side as well. So moving on, next is from the backup from storage snapshots. So definitely, I think we have been spoken on this topic many times. So there are two types of things. So one is what we're doing is adding your virtual environment and doing snapshot on the VMware side, and then taking that snapshot as a cohesive point and copy, and and that consists of each and everything, your system state, your OS, your application, each and everything, and then doing a backup. So the next option is from the backup from storage snapshot, which is this. So you have your production storage systems, and you have your hypervisors, and then you have your VMs. So what we can do, rather having snapshot at the hypervisor level, have an option. I need to add first. What I need to do is I need to add these production storage systems into my Veeam backup console. So I have the fully integrated APIs to add your production storages. And when I add these production storages, I get the full information about storages. How many volumes, learns you have created inside it. And once it is done, so when I create a job, in that job, I have an option to take backup from storage snapshots, rather doing on the hypervisor snapshots. Of course, it takes a hypervisor snapshot, but it takes for a very small time just to get the information where your VMs is laid down on your storage systems. It takes and it deletes. Then storage snapshot happens. Then it copies the data, stores, sends it to the backup target, and closes the snapshot on the storage side. In this, what feature or what benefits you get is you have a zero impact on a production. You have a zero impact on a production VM side. There is no snapshot happening. What we are doing is we are just doing a snapshot on the storage system level and copying data from production storage to backup repository. As simple as that. How we do it, and of course, you can have your RPOs and RTOs improves in this case a lot, because backup is happens fast. If you have fiber channel connectivity, which is also good, you can have on iSCSI as well, transfer data on iSCSI. You can have your RPOs improve, because of course the snapshot which you are doing, VMware snapshots, of course, but that was for a very small time, for a few seconds only. So you will not have an impact on your production VM side. So all data will be copied from storage to storage, from production storage to backup storage. How we do it? So let's see in this demo. Okay, I have this job. I just right click on edit. In this edit, I have this storage option. In this storage, I'll click on this and go in advanced. In advanced, I'll find this integration tab. In integration, here's the option, enable backup from storage snapshot. So you can enable and disable at any time. So there are multiple options here. So multiple options. Enable backup from storage snapshot. You can have a limit as well on the per storage snapshot count, and you can if storage snapshot is not available by any chance, you can fail over to standard backups, so that your job should not be impacted. Yeah, so all these options are available here. You can do just click on OK. And yeah, so all these things you have. And storage infrastructure, you can go in storage infrastructure. You can see you have this data on tap. I mean, I have added this data on tap, and these are the snapshots which has been creating on the volume side. So not only on this backup from source, I've created Veeam NAS backup snapshots as well. So that is again a different topic which we can discuss later on. So yeah, this is how you can do it on this backup from storage snapshot. Moving on to the next thing, to protect from storage corruption. So yeah, so This is the, I mean, it's a good functionality which, I think very few, very few customers uses, and or very few people uses, this thing. So we have, in this job, we have something called this maintenance job. In this maintenance job, you can select that, the backup files which you are storing in the repository. So if you want to check on the corruption, on the block corruption level, so you can schedule that thing as well, just to check whether those backup files, those blocks which we have copied from production to backup repositories, are all healthy or not. So if any corruption gets found, or if any corruption is found, so you have I mean, it has an option to correct the data blocks are also, and that data blocks are to be retrieved from primary storage, and it is auto healed. So what it does basically, storage corruption, basically it checks on the blocks whether these blocks are healthy or not. If any corruption will be found, that can be, auto heal can be done. Auto heal option are also done. So the next time whenever we are doing a backup, so we should, copy the correct blocks or the healthy blocks. So how you can set it up, this policy or this feature, how you can enable this feature, is go to the backup jobs, do an edit, click on edit here. On edit, you can go to storage. In storage again, go to advanced. In advanced, you have this maintenance tab. So storage level corruption guard, you can check it here. So perform backup file health checkup, detect and auto heals corruption. So you can do it monthly, weekly, or on some selected days as well. If you want to daily, you can just go to weekly, select all days. So it will check this thing on all days. Moving on to next, on the last part, which is cloud integration. So in cloud integration, I think we have many things. I mean, in cloud integration, we can do backups which are natively running on AWS, Azure, GCP, and you can do backups there. You can migrate those backups to on-premise, and and next thing, what you can do, if you are running any physical servers, your virtual machines of any hypervisors or any backup, so that can be also being migrated to cloud on AWS, Azure, and GCP. So one thing which is common, which is the main thing on the reporting part. So if I am doing a reporting, if I am doing a backups of my cloud instances, so what things will I be getting reports or not? So now with Veeam 1, starting with 10A, now it has support to visibility into your cloud workloads as well. So in 10A we started with AWS, now we have for all major cloud providers. So whatever backups which we are doing through Veeam Backup for AWS, Veeam Backup for Azure, Veeam Backup for GCP, so you will have all the basically reports available in your centralized Veeam 1 console. So this kind of reports that the name, platform is what, if this are in Azure, GCP, so it will show here how many VM counts are there, the last snapshot happened, last backup, last replication. So all these options would be available here. How you can check in Veeam 1 console? You can just log into Veeam 1 console. You can go to this, VM job status. You have this VM job status here. And on this tab, you have this cloud backup policy tab. You can click on this tab and go and check that, okay, which are the backups you have. So you have for AWS, Azure, and now we have for GCP as well. So all the information of your backups will be coming here. Public cloud protection data product. Then you have reports as well. So you can get the reports also from Veeam 1 reporter. You click here and the report will come here. Okay, which are the protected VMs? for last 24 hours. Okay, let's select last 24 hours only. So this is showing unprotected VMs, that how many total VMs you have in your account. So it is saying, okay, total 7 VMs and unprotected is 7. So these VM last session and unprotected VMs. Next, you'll get a detailed report with the VM name, what is the resource ID, what is the protection type, what is the policy, how many restore points are there, what is the last protection date of your cloud instances backup. So yeah, I mean, this is what you have. Of course, you can get the reports in the dashboard as well, but you need to have one single centralized console wherein you can get all your job details. So next is on the direct restore to cloud. I think now earlier it was not so not so utilize this functionality, but yeah, any VM if you want to do a migration from on-premise to cloud, or you want to set up a some cold DR setup kind of thing in your environment, so you can have this available here. So one is this Microsoft Azure, AWS, GCP. So this is some old screenshot. The GCP is not mentioned here, but yeah, in the new running with 11a. So now you have an option to directly restore a VM to GCP also. So you have the backups, you have image-based backups. You can go to the backups, right-click on those things, and select anywhere. If it's a VM, if it's a physical server, Windows, Linux, or it's any Hyper-V, VMware, AHV, any backup you have taken. So it will be restored to any of these three major cloud vendors. How we do it? So it's again an easy thing. You just right click, restore to Amazon EC2. Sure, GCP of course is available, but some older video we have. Here the last few things. If I selected on Azure, which location you want to test, and if it is Azure proxy VM, you can use this proxy VM because proxy will improve speeds very much. Very well. You can just type, edit some settings on the name side, or if you want to change the VM size as well, you have different VM size available, and you can select on which storage account, which storage type you want to select. You can select the resource group as well, in which resource group you want to place this VM. You can select the network, okay, in which virtual network, in which subnet you want to provide the IP address or not to this VM. Again, the secure restore functionality which we have spoken about is also available here. The next, reason and ready to restore. Reason you can type it anywhere, and power on VM after restoring it. That's it. I mean, this is how, and there are some simple steps. You can perform. You can do migration, of your on-premise infrastructure to cloud. I think I've covered most of the thing. So I think this is just the bonus part, of which in here what we can do. I mean, here we have this rollback functionality. So rollback, what does rollback means? So suppose you have a VM. We have done instant VM recovery of this virtual machine. So instant VM recovery means, I mean, instantly powering on VM from the backups, and you have basically you have powered on this VM from the backups. User have start logging into that machine. Suddenly your production VM comes up, and now you have to put that the changes which you have with the VM we have restored. So you need to put those changes to a production VM. So we have something called quick rollback, wherein so all the incremental data which has been produced from on the recovered VM side. So only that changes will be rolled back to a production VM. So this is important, should only be used after a problem has occurred at the level of VM guest OS level. And if your VM has come up at your DC site, so of course this quick rollback functionality will be able to roll back quickly, rather restoring it completely from the backups to production. how we can do it. Right click, restore entire VM or instant recovery as well. Let's do next on the change block. So here you can do it. Origin location to new location or stage restore. So stage restore and restore to new location won't work. Restore to origin location only. This quick rollback will work. You can do secure restore as well in this option. You provide a reason, summary, and yeah, you can select. These are the objects which is going to be started, and yeah, that's it. So yeah, this is what I had in today's session. I hope you have liked few features and functionality which are underutilized in Veeam, certainly. And I have learned a lot. I mean, when I was preparing this presentation, seriously, I have learned a lot myself as well. So as I told you, extract utility and quick rollback functionality. These are something some unique features which can be useful definitely. So this is from my side, and thank you so much. So I think we have few questions as well. Jayati, please.
Yes, Saurabh, we do have
Over to you.
questions. Sure. So the first question is from Mr. Nadeem. His question is raw disk map, disk backup is possible or not?
Yes, raw device mapping. So if you have mapped up, volume or learn directly from a storage to a virtual machine. So definitely that can be backed up. Of course, it will not be an agentless backup because VMware does not allow snapshotting of that RDM volume. So we need to deploy an agent inside that guest OS and then do a complete image level backups. But yeah, backup is very much possible for that. Thank you.
So from the other question is from Mr. Kaustubh Sinha. His question is, what is the encryption bit you are using with backup?
So encryption we are using is AES 256-bit encryption, which is the highest grade encryption that is available right now. So I'll repeat, AES 256-bit encryption. Yes, thank you.
Right. Next question is from Mr. Sanjay Rawat. His question is, will this Veeam backup work with Hyper-V also, or it will work only vCenter? Means we can restore VMS from on-prem to an cloud and vice versa?
Yes, very good question. Yes, you can do it. So Veeam supports all hypervisors, all major hypervisors like VMware, Hyper-V, AHV, RHEV. These all are through agentless. Other hypervisors definitely we support through agent-based approach. And if you want to recover, these VMs to cloud, definitely you can recover these VMs to cloud as well. So these functionalities which I was talking about, this does not apply just on the VMware. This applies on other hypervisors as well. Yes, thank you. Yes.
Next question is from Mr. Maheshwar Singh. He's saying presently he's using Veeam for a Microsoft cluster, but restore is not happening as he's using physical RDMs to share. Sorry. Am I audible, Saurabh?
Yes, you are audible. I did not get the question. Could you please repeat it?
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. The question is from
Yes,
Mr. Maheshwar Singh. He's saying that presently he's using Veeam for a Microsoft cluster, but restore is not happening as he's using physical RDMs to share between the cluster system. So how do he restore the backup, which is, how is happening successfully?
I would like to, definitely, you can post this question on the forum, but, I would suggest to use agents inside these guest OS and then do a backup and then restore it as well. So through agents, you would be able to do it. If you're doing a snapshot level backup, so of course, those disks will be skipped from the backups. Yes, Chaitanya. I think I have answered.
So, Mr. Maheshwar, you can drop us your query and we'll connect you to the engineer. So the next question is from Mr. Anil Kumar. He's asking if you can show the encryption on the console.
Encryption on the console?
Yeah.
So let me just go back to the slide. Just 1 minute. I think in encryption, I have set it up. I think in zip, I have. I don't have console right now, but in the demo, I think you have an option in advance. You have an option to go and then do it. Sorry, let me just go. So here is the enable backup file encryption options is available. You just need to tick mark this encryption option and add a password. So my password is already added. So when you'll add a password and you will do an OK, so it will be an encrypted backups. The same. This is a Veeam zip screenshot, but the same option comes when you create a backup job as well. So there's an option to enable encryption on these backup files. So it has been properly provided that these encryption will be AES 256-bit. And of course, definitely you need to remember this password, when you are doing a restore, because when you are doing a restore, it asks for this password. Yes, Jayati.
Next question is from Mr. Sanjay Kumar. His question is, can you integrate SAN, NAS backup depending upon IT infra?
Sorry, could you please repeat again?
Can you integrate SAN, NAS backup depending upon IT infra?
Yes, you can. Definitely, you can. So, I mean, definitely. If you want to do backup of NAS, NAS workloads, so there's a different job for, doing backup of NAS workloads. And if you want to do SAN job is basically, whatever VMs, your physical server data, your application data, of course, that would be present in SAN only. And, so that could be, backed up from the source side, not from the storage side, but from the source side. And definitely for the NAS, I can integrate NAS storages to my Veeam backup, and I can do backups through adding as an SMB share or as an NFS share, or through Windows file server, or through an enterprise storage as well. So all options are available. Yes, Jyoti.
Next question is from Mr. Harish. His question is, Oracle and SQL backup supported. Is there any way real-time backup happens?
So, I mean, you can schedule it. So for Oracle and MS SQL, definitely both databases are supported. And as far as backup, you can have your RPO as less as you can. In fact, if you want to do a logs backup, for example, for MS SQL, you want to do a transaction log backups after every 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes. You can apply that policy in the backup jobs only, that I want to do a transaction log backup for every 5 minutes, or as less as you want. So all these options are available with you. Thank you, Jyoti.
Next question is from Mr. Rajveer Singh. His question is how GFS tape works and how we can perform off-sighting of volume.
So GFS, it's a policy, which you need to apply on the tapes. So GFS, just to, for the larger audience to know, so GFS is your grandfather, father, son policy, wherein, you can have your weekly, monthly, yearly backups applied on your tapes. So, with the GPS, with the GFS policy, you need to create a media pools. So when you add a tape server, you have an option to create a media pools. So one option is to create a regular media pools, which is very simple, and another option is to create a GFS media pool, wherein it asks that okay, for the weekly backups you need to define these tapes, for monthly backups you need to define these tapes, for yearly backups you need to define these tapes. So accordingly, it's a complete lifecycle data management. So according to the policy, your backups will be applied there on those tapes as well, on those media pools, and this will be a completely automated process. And whatever, I mean, for the yearly backup, when the yearly backup has been done, you can just take out the tape out and store it some other place. as well. So this is completely automated with our Veeam solution. Yes,
Shall
Jyoti.
we go to the next question? Yeah. So next question is from Mr. Shatrugana. He's asking that do we have the same agents for all hypervisor and all clouds?
Sorry, do we have the agent?
Same agents for all hypervisor and all clouds.
So yeah, I mean, definitely you can, if you want to do backup of hypervisors with agents. I mean, our agents are fully supported, for all the operating systems, all Windows, Linux, Unix, I mean, AIX or Oracle Solaris. You can do agentless backup also for hypervisors. As I said, for VMware, Hyper-V, AHV, RHEV, for these hypervisors, you can have agentless backup. For other hypervisors, you can have agent-based backup. If you want to do cloud backups through agents, you can, deploy agents into the clouds and take the backup. So both the ways are available, agent based as well and agentless also, and it is supported for all the for all the hypervisors and for all the clouds, as long as the guest OS is supported by agents. And if you'll go on our website helpcenter.veeam.com, you will find the supported Linux and Windows flavor. I think all of them are supported.
Next question, please. So it's from Mr. Nimesh Bhatt. His question is, can I integrate private cloud like Control S?
Yes, you can. It's a good question, and I have not touched upon this. But yeah, I mean, we have, Control S, and other major cloud providers in India, like ESDS and other partners. So they are partnered with us, and they provide and they offer backup and DR as a service to their customers as well. So if you go to Control S, ESDS, NetMagic, and other cloud providers as well. So I mean, definitely you can ask them backup and DRS service from them, and they can have you can have your Veeam backups to be copied, or you want to do disaster recovery, to be apply. I mean, to have a service from them, you can have it. Yes, Jerry.
Right. Next question is from Mr. Sanjay Rawat. He's asking that how many devices we can take backup simultaneously.
Well, it depends. Okay, so it depends, what resources we have defined. So it depends on the number of cores what we have defined in our proxy server. So there's a sizing which we do, whenever we size a solution. In that we see, okay, how many VMDKs or how many VMs, how many VHDs are there to process, and what is the data size we have, how much data we have to process in certain amount of time. So accordingly, so suppose you say that I need to have my backup window in 8 hours. All my complete backup, my full backup should be able to complete in 8 hours. So accordingly, we provide, okay, these are the resources, these are the number of cores, memory you need to have, to process that data. So one vCPU, I will say one VMDK at a time. So one vCPU, 4 GB, and one VMDK to process. So accordingly, I mean, that depends. That depends. What data you have, how much data you have, how many VMs you have. I mean, you can have n number of parallel processing you have for n numbers, as long as you have resources. So, but you have selected, no, I have to finish in 8 hours backup window, or 12-hour backup window, or 4-hour backup window. Accordingly, you need to have resources in your environment. Yeah, Jyoti.
Next question is from Mr. Rajbir Singh. That is it possible in VBR 11A to deploy AIX agent via protection group?
Yes, it is. It is. So we have recently launched our, AIX, latest AIX version recently only. So wherein you can have your AIX backup protected, AIX power servers running on AIX, so that can be protected on a file system level, or if you want to running any applications like Oracle and any other, so that can also be protected by Veeam. and that can be centrally managed as well. So now Veeam agent can centrally manage your AIX and Solaris agent also.
Right. Next question is from Mr. Nadeem. What is the role of Veeam Disaster Recovery Orchestrator?
Oh, okay. So VDRO I have not touched. I mean, VDRO is all, again, it's a different topic. It's a different product, I would say. So VDRO is something like, so it's as the name suggests, Veeam Disaster Recovery Orchestrator, which automates your DR drills. In short, it automates your DR drills, works on, VMware environment. If you are replicating your VMs from DC to DR, you need to do a lot of DR drills. You need to, manage many documentation related to your DR drills. So VDRO, I mean, Veeam Disaster Recovery Orchestrator, helps you, to achieve that thing as well. To automate your DRs, your DR drills, your documentation, and provides you, certain that 100% guarantee that the DR drills which you are doing will be restorable. And this is the report in which you are meeting your SLA, your compliance, each and everything will be there. So this is a very short answer I have provided you. Sorry. Again, as I told you that it's a very, again, it's a different product, different topic altogether. And we do a lot many webinars on VDRO as well, in Disaster Recovery Orchestrator. And I would must recommend you, I mean, all the joinees who are here to attend that topic as well.
Right. Next question is from Mr. Joseph Wagner. He's asking that if we have to send tape offsite location and do data recovery, what can we do about it?
So if you, I mean, that is, I mean, if you have to, send data or tape offsite, so make sure, first that has been backed up properly, the chains, which we are backing up. For example, we have set up a media pool that, these are the 4 tapes, which will do my monthly backups. And those will be, stored for next, I don't know how many days or how many years. So make sure, those backups happen properly on those tapes, and then you can, move that tapes to offsite. Of course, moving that tape offsite is, it's a manual task, and it will not be, Veeam scope, because, we have copied the data, we have copied the retention and stored on those tapes. And then, yes, after that, you can move your tapes outside, ship those tapes at wherever location you want to. And whenever you want to recover it, of course, that, your data, whenever you will recover it, you will have that tape serial number or your media set serial number. And on this serial number, we have stored the data. When it will be restored, so it will ask that, provide these media serial numbers. Yes. Thank you, Jyoti.
Right. So we want to take more questions, or we can take the questions and we can reply to the audience. We do have few questions here.
Yeah, definitely. I think we can. We can take the questions and we can reply, one-to-one.
Sure. Thank you, audience, for joining in today. Thank you, Saurav, for such a great session. And the questions we are left with, will definitely be replying on the email. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining.
All right. All right. Sure. Thank you so much.